Hey y'all, and welcome back to the channel. And today we've got the work order on the truck having been done. We're going to go over that, so stay tuned. Let's get into this. I did not want the truck to go to Larry H. Miller. Ram made me take it there. I fought tooth and nail. Pete can confirm. I just got overruled. They would not send it the extra 2 miles to the dealer that I preferred, that actually had transmission mechanics on staff, waiting for the truck, I might add. All right, it broke down. We spent the night in the Walmart parking lot. The following morning, Pete came out. He pulled the Ram out from underneath the fifth wheel because it didn't have enough power to do it itself. It took another 4 hours for Ram.
It was all day. It was all day.
It was all day.
Yeah.
They finally got a roll back there to get it to the shop. They were supposed to have a rental car waiting on us, according to Ram Care, which they did not. They sent me back to the Walmart in an Uber.
Yeah.
So we spent, what did we spend that night in?
No, we waited. I mean.
That's right.
We went on to.
Pete took us to the first campground there.
Couldn't get in one for a month right away, so we had to be.
Right.
We had to move from one to another.
We stayed at a campground for, I don't know, 2-3 days.
Yeah.
Pete came back and got us that Thursday and took us to the long-term spot that we stayed at in Greeley. And I'm sorry, y'all, that sun is really bright.
Whatever day it was, I don't even know.
So I fought with Ram. I fought with the dealer. It was there Saturday. They were supposed to pull the codes off of it. They didn't pull the codes. So it sat until Monday. Pete and I showed up with 2 dozen donuts and coffee for the entire service staff. Anyway, they didn't even start on it Monday. They didn't pull the codes on it until Wednesday. Then we got into a fight about them not following the TSB on it. What they did was they dropped the transmission pan and found debris. And the problem is with the Aisin, there's 3 clutch packs in it, and one of them absolutely will fail. The K2 might fail depending upon the severity of the K1, and they couldn't tell the debris that was in the pan. So the TSB says to pull the transmission and check the torque or the slippage on the input shaft of the transmission to find out if the K1 and the K2 are bad. So anyway, they found debris. They ordered a K1. The K1 was on back order for 30 days. I reached out to a buddy of mine named Mike, who is in the executive level of Ram customer care. He got my name over to a district warranty manager, who then gave Maria and I a call and said that they were expediting a K1 clutch kit to us. Now this is that. Oh, the truck broke down Saturday. He calls us on Friday. Says that they're going to expedite it. It'll be there in a week. So after he and I talk a little bit, I tell him, what we're using the fifth wheel, or what the truck is being used for, pulling a fifth wheel. We live in it full time. We've got commitments, for August. And I told him I really didn't trust the dealer to rebuild the transmission. So he agreed. They were just going to completely replace the transmission. So he said he had one in a warehouse in Denver, and that they would get that there right about the same time as the K1 clutch. As of Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday of the following week, we're going into 2 weeks now, that transmission hadn't showed up yet. So I texted him because he gave us his personal cell phone number to text and call, and then gave us his Stellantis email address. So the transmission didn't show up. We called him. They found a transmission sitting at a dealer somewhere around where our truck was at, and they took that transmission from that dealer and they sent it to go be installed in my truck on Thursday. So the dealership got it on a Thursday. They put it in on a Friday. They got it all repaired, ready to go, and then realized they forgot to do the heater relay switch in it, which is a recall. So they couldn't give it to us Friday. They had to do that the following Monday, and we picked the truck up. Now, Ram customer care failed miserably, and every interaction I've had with Ram customer care has failed miserably. They're absolutely they're just horrible. They're absolutely horrible. Pete was standing there when I was talking to him on the phone. They're I don't know if they've just never driven a vehicle before or ever seen one or what, but they're just awful. So after we got past those people and got to the district warranty manager, Stellantis took very good care of us. Yeah. I mean, from that point on, man, it was. I couldn't ask for anything better. I feel
like if we had only had to depend on the dealership and Ram Care, who knows how long it would have been.
Yeah, if we had not gotten pushed up to the Stellantis level, if we had to stay with the dealership and just the Ram Care, this truck still wouldn't be done.
They were telling us that it would be at least the 17th before they could get another.
And here's the problem with the K1 clutch. It has a snap ring on the back of it. That snap ring was, had an error in manufacturing. I don't know what it was. But that snap ring comes undone. The clutch pack, basically comes apart. All the steels and everything come out of it. And you lose first, second, third, and fourth gear. So fifth gear and reverse are in the K2 clutch pack. The K1 clutch pack sits inside the K2 clutch pack housing. So when it comes apart, if you drive it any further, you cause damage to the K2 clutch pack. Then the overdrive is in, if I'm not mistaken, is in the K3 clutch pack. And we couldn't get out of fifth gear, so we didn't hurt the K3. My problem was when they pulled the pan and found debris, all they ordered was the K1 because they didn't run through the TSB to look at the specs of the input shaft to be able to tell if it was just the K1 or the K1 and the K2. So the K1 is on a 30-day back order, and the K2, I don't think it's quite 30 days, but K2s are on back order as well. They're easier to find though. So I wanted them to follow the TSB, pull the transmission, and order everything to replace it so that we weren't sitting 30 days for the K1, another 15 days for the K2, and now that they have not transfer case, but bell housing, you can't reuse the bell housing bolts. You have to have new ones. There's some 30-day wait on those bolts. So I wanted everything ordered at one time. The dealership didn't want to do that. And the reason they didn't want to do it is because as soon as they pulled the truck in and they put it on a lift and they yanked the transmission out of it to do the testing for the K1 and K2, that lift is stuck. They can't use that lift for anything else. The transmission's out of the truck. They can't put the transmission back in it because that's half of the installation. They don't want that thing tied up while they're waiting for parts. And I explained to them, I get that, but we shouldn't be the ones that are inconvenienced even further because y'all don't want to tie a rack up for something that's absolutely not our fault. The dealer basically told me, you'll get your truck back when we're done with it, and if you're not happy with it, then pound sand. I mean, and
they didn't even want to.
That's paraphrase. That's not quoting, but they essentially did not give two shakes of a dog's tail what my opinion on fixing my truck was. So anyway, Stellantis got involved and they all went away. They did it the way that they were supposed to, and they replaced the transmission. Stellantis also agreed to pay not just 5 days of our rental at a cap of $42 a day. They paid the entire rental. They're going to pay both of our campground stays, and they're going to pay for the campground that we missed in Wyoming in the Tetons. We didn't take advantage of it, but they did authorize us to go rent a 1-ton truck that was going to be $7,000 a month. And they told us if that's what you need, go get it. Luckily, Pete could get us to where we needed to go, and we didn't have to do that. Until we started doing this recording, this is I just looked at this right before we started doing this recording. And to tell you how shady this dealer is. So they state that the truck showed up with 20,675 miles on it. That is absolutely incorrect. It showed up at the dealership with 20,667 miles on it. I know because I took a picture of it. So they claim they towed it into the shop. They hooked it up. They found the DTC P0731. That is accurate, but there were two other codes there. There was a 732, a 733, and then a 2097, something like that. There were 4 codes on that truck. I know because I went to AutoZone and bought a tuner to look at the codes before it went to the dealer. All right, so they referenced the TSB, the 21-00223, which is the steps to remove the transmission, and it's a known issue with the snap ring coming out. Here's where it gets funny, and because I don't think they did this. It says, towed it out of the shop. Customer wanted pan removed to inspect for damage to towed vehicle back into the shop, removed the pan and found very little small debris, removed the transmission and tore apart. Found the K1 clutch snap to have come dislodged, small damage to K2 hub. So K1 and K2 are damaged. Installed a new K2 hub, then a new K1 assembly. Then I was told we were getting a new transmission, removed the K1 assembly and K2 hub, reinstalled the original parts, assembled the transmission. Towed the vehicle back outside when the new transmission got here. I towed the vehicle inside, installed the new transmission, reinstalled the transfer case, front drive shaft, 2-piece rear drive shaft, checked fluid levels, cleared DTCs, performed a quick learn, road tested 7 miles to make sure that it was good, rechecked the fluid, known to be good. All right, so one, the delivery date that I was given for the K1 clutch pack was after the transmission got there. So I don't know how in the world they installed a K1 and a K2 clutch pack in it before the transmission got. I'm not saying they didn't, but I think they overbilled Chrysler for this. But then on the next day, on Monday, they replaced the grid heater relay, which was under recall. So anyway, very happy with the outcome, very happy with the truck. All of y'all that are saying, drop it and go to a Ford, I'm not going to do that. I love my Ram. You drive a Ford and you love your Ford, you ought to understand why I'm staying with the Ram. Yeah. I like the truck better. I'm not going to start any arguments over Ford or Ram. I will say, I think the transmission was bad in this truck when we got it, because it didn't slam gears and it didn't bang gears, but it bumped them, and it was a little harsh. This one, butter, just very, very smooth. We got it back that Monday. We immediately left there and went from Grassley all the way to Breckenridge and back. Got about 300 miles on it to kind of get that final fit and finish on it. And we hooked it up to the fifth wheel, and we tried towing it 50 miles an hour. That did not. It's hard to tow at 50 miles an hour, y'all. So we bumped it up to 65, and we made it all the way to Custer. And we're at Custer State Park in a really great place now. But I couldn't be more thrilled with the way that this transmission feels, the way it pulls, the way it. This is the way the truck should have been when we originally took delivery of it. I do still have a minor issue in that the The pedal response on it is not quite where I think it ought to be, but I've been told that Ram has detuned that pedal sensitivity to increase their miles per gallon to hit their EPA requirements. So I may end up having to put a pedal commander on it or something, but it runs great. The old transmission ran at a temp of about 163 degrees when we were towing, whether it was going uphill, downhill. This one looks like it's going to run around 167. It hasn't gotten over 170. So we're pleased, and
happy to be back on the road.
Absolutely. And I don't know if y'all can see this or not. All the way over there. I wish I could zoom with this thing. Way over there. What channel is that?
While We Still Can.
While We Still Can is over there in their Brinkley fifth wheel, just taunting us with it. We did not know that they were going to be at this park until I think Maria knew the day before we got here.
Yeah.
So we had a really great dinner with them. They're going to go back to Wisconsin when they leave here. We're headed to, I think we're headed to Minnesota.
We're trying to hit a couple of states we haven't done yet, and
then we're going to meet back up in
Michigan
for the Switch It Up rally. But yeah, it was great running into them and getting to hang out and eat. And that's it on the truck. She's back on the road, and we're happy.
We are so happy.
Except for the navigation. The navigation's still awful. TomTom is a horrible GPS.
We were down for a total of 18 days, and it was not great.
No.
Not great. Not great times in Colorado. Not great to be stuck in that town.
It wasn't a great place to be stuck in. It wasn't a great situation to be stuck with. No. I will say the Toyota Corolla that we got, pretty dang good car.
Yeah, it was good. Only thing wrong with it is it wouldn't tow that.
Yeah, no matter how I tried, I couldn't get it hooked up to the Corolla. But
anyway,
that's it. We're gonna go get ready for tomorrow, and we've got some stuff coming on
Sunday.
Custer, Deadwood, Spearfish.
Yep.
And we actually saw somebody get murdered. We'll leave you with that.